Well, the biggest economic story of the day, it may be the most important story of the day. No one is covering this, so I have to do it. The index of leading indicators has fallen in April for the 13th straight month. Now, that kind of thing has recession written all over it. It is a classical leading indicator. So let's talk about this. Joining me now is my dear friend Art Laffer, former Reagan economist, Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient, and author of the important book, Taxes Have Consequences. Arthur, my love, welcome here right on set. Terrific stuff.
It's terrific. What a beautiful set.
Oh, yeah, Woo. Thank you. I'll read real quick from our friend Joe Lavorgna. I'm reading his daily newsletter. The index of leading indicators fell 0.6% in April, the 13th consecutive drop. It's the longest streak of declines since April 2007 to March 2009. The drop in April puts the series 8% below a year ago. That's the steepest decline in the 12 months, since the 12 months ending back in September 2009 during the meltdown. I only say it, the M2 money supply has crashed, the yield curve is inverted, commodity indexes are falling. People are talking about a soft landing, no recession, continued expansion. And I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm no smarter than anybody else. My crystal ball is probably not near as good as yours. But this is not good. It's not good. And by the way, a recession will have a huge political impact, almost as much as the FBI. Anyway, what's your take on this?
Pretty much the same. I mean, I don't look at M2, Larry, because I think of M2 not as the money supply, but as money demand.
Okay.
And what you're seeing there, when interest rates go up high, people consume less money because the opportunity cost there. So therefore, that's the way I look. The leading indicators that you're describing is completely consistent with everything we see out there. We have seen a very long period of decline in the U.S. You talk about it from 2008-9, but you can even go back to 2000. You know, what you've seen is the real yield on capital has been declining ever so steadily for the last 20-plus years. It is a period of steady decline for the U.S. By the way, it's not just the U.S. You see it in, obviously, Russia, terrible. China, G is swift-flipped. Even Chile and South America has flipped over and going straight down. You have Britain. I say they've gotten so bad in Britain, the pound's now the ounce. I don't know, come on.
I got it.
And Europe, and if you look at all these others, the U.S. is right there with them. We are the tallest midget, but there is a whole worldwide decline.
Why is this?
Bad policies.
Yeah.
Just strictly bad policies. There was a moment there in the U.S., unfortunately, it was a very short moment when Trump was president, where we had a stoppage of that and then even a little pop back up. It would have gone a lot further, but that was stopped quickly by the pandemic. But here you see a long-term thing. And all the five kingdoms are being destroyed. I mean, taxes, they're raising taxes now. Spending, that's a joke. You look at the monetary policy, there's no movement to eliminate the unhinged paper currency we have and make a sound dollar. There's no movement there. Regulations have gotten worse and worse and worse, especially in energy, especially in healthcare. And lastly, trade. I mean, trade is not, we've been using sanctions, we've been using tariffs, quotas, et cetera. That whole direction of freer trade has been going. All of that combines together to make a very long period of steady decline of the U.S. economy and the world economy. If we don't do it first, it won't be done. Right.
We're always the leader. When we go off track, they all go off track.
They do. They really do.
You've got, so the G7 is meeting in Hiroshima now, okay? They're all socialists. Every one of them.
Yes.
Either socialist or they have socialist type policies. Yeah. And that, you know, and there's no talk about economic growth. I mean, I'm just reading some stories in the Wall Street Journal so far. They're looking at Russia and this and that, but they're not looking at growth. There's no prosperity agenda.
None. And you can't have a prosperity agenda by this little piece there, this little piece there. You need an overall agenda going through all the kingdoms of macroeconomics to be able to bring it about, like Reagan did, like Trump was doing, by the way. He was doing a great job on that and caught short, but you need to have it all the way across the board from all the kingdoms. You need sound money, a Paul Volcker. You need tax cuts like Graham and Hance and Conable Lott. All those guys. You need deregulation. Remember Reagan dropping the book of regulations, Bloom, and Trump did that beautifully there. And then on trade, I mean, you had the NAFTA was Reagan, and then Trump did some darn good deals on trade. By the way, I know everyone says he's the tariff man, But the truth of the matter is Trump was leading towards freer trade.
We
as
did.
well.
No.
He did some great stuff on that.
I mean, I spent a lot of time with him on that. And reciprocal free trade deals. We had one in Japan. We had one in South Korea. We had U.S., Mexico, and Canada.
These were good.
They should be doing now. They should be doing one with the United Kingdom. There should be a British-American free trade
It's a
deal.
perfect opportunity.
They won't do it.
And they wouldn't do it. And
even
even when they did whatchamacallit and went off the Euro standard there and did that Brexit. That was a perfect time for locking in close. And, you know, they didn't do that. And
what happens, here's a fear of mine. If there's a recession, what kind of policies are they going to come up with? It may be more spending, more demand side, Keynesian, the kind of left-wing stuff, central planning. That's what worries me. I mean, recession now will probably cause Biden to lose in the election, but you still got 17 months to deal with it. And that's what troubles me. What the heck are they going to come up with?
Well, you know, you can go back to the example with Jimmy Carter. I mean, we saw that with the 78 tax bill on the cutting the capital gains and all that. And,
that was good.
That was good, but it was in the sea of very bad stuff of Jimmy Carter, rising inflation. You remember when we took office on January 20th, 81, the prime interest rate was 21.5%, Larry. I mean, that's bad monetary policy. Paul Volcker was working that one down. He finally got control of the Fed. But it takes a long time to right the American economy and to make it really work. Ours really didn't start until January 1st, 1983. I mean, that's when the tax cuts took effect. And just for the numbers here, from January 1st, 83, I mean, to June 30th, 84, that's an 18-month period, U.S. real GDP grew by 12%. Right. 8% per annum. Chinese growth.
That's what we need now.
But it takes time to get all of that in. And what we need to do is get.
And no one talks about it.
I know, not even the Republicans.
No, I mean, we should be going for the next couple of years like 8 to 10, 12% growth.
Yeah, exactly. We should be.
Run the table. Regulations down. Taxes down.
And it's really simple.
Down.
And it's simple how to do it. Everyone just is scared. I mean, they're just scared of the policy feedback coming from the left? Go ahead.
Last point.
Yes,
last point. Because I read your paper today. You wrote a paper. So I own a home in some undisclosed location, and they raise my property taxes. What is the impact on my home prices and home value?
Most amazing thing in the world.
In 45 seconds.
It will drop them dramatically. There is nothing more important than property tax rates on the value of a home. Look at it from 2010 to 2022. The line is almost a straight line. You raise it by 1%, the property tax rate, effective rate, and your home price goes down by 1%. Bang. It's just uncanny, the correlation.
So we need more Proposition 13s.
And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing in Tennessee right now. I'm working on a Prop 13 in Tennessee to make it. And you also need to control the increase in property tax payments for any single owner.
We need property tax cuts at my home in an undisclosed location.
I will do it for you for a price, Larry.
We need it very badly.
Get me your city council. I'll get them.
Anyway, the great Art Laffer. Good to see you. I'll see you later tonight.
Yes, sir.